Hey guys, what's going on? Today we're making a video going over our 2025 season. We just wanted to make a video going over some of my favorite tracks, best drivers, favorite things about different tracks. Yeah, just to help you guys, if you guys are ever up here in the Kansas area wanting to race some tracks and need that information. So it starts now. I made all my lists on the computer, so we're just going to be listing it off there. So if you see me looking back and forth, that's what's going on. We're looking at the computer trying to read off our list and go over everything. So let's start off with the tracks that we raced this year. I made the list in order that we raced this year, from first track, second track, third track, in order of, when we went to the tracks. So we started off the season at I-35. Then went to Humboldt, Nevada, and Nevada, Missouri, Salina, Beatrice, 81 Speedway, RPM Speedway, and then finished off the year at Springfield, where we picked up that guy. So I want to start out with my favorite tracks. And I'm talking my favorite tracks to race on. Now, for me, this was pretty easy to get my top 3 down, maybe top 4 down, and the bottom 4 fall right in line. So to start, my favorite track, easily, not easily, I guess, but pretty easily as far as our local tracks go and tracks that I would race weekly, Humboldt Speedway is my favorite track to race on. As far as any local tracks near me that aren't super far, when I say far, for me, every track we race at that I would consider a local track is about 2 hours. So in this case, Humboldt is an hour and 50 minutes from my house. So, but it is my favorite local track to race on. Now, in second, we have Springfield. Springfield, it was my first time ever racing on it here a week or two ago. And man, I gotta tell you, it was a blast. If you watch my in-car camera on the channel, man, my wheels were never straight while we were racing. It is almost a circle when you're on the track. Your wheels are always turned left in a front-wheel drive. I mean, it was a blast to race on. Jerry made a joke in the driver's meeting, said that, Kenny Schrader ran a 25-lap race, start to finish, and his neck wasn't tired at all at the end of the race. I will tell you, after a heat and a feature, my neck was sore for a couple of days. So maybe I'm just a wuss. Very possible. Anybody that knows me, I'm sure I'm going to get some comments on that. But Springfield was a great place to race. Fun track. Can't say enough good things about them. Third on my list is Beatrice. I consider Beatrice a sneaky fast track. It doesn't look super big. It doesn't look like it should be a fast track, but it's something to do with the shape and the banking. It's a fast track, and it is fun to race. You carry a lot of speed. Even in front-wheel drive, you can throw sliders. I watched Dylan Richards one night at the Joey Herget Memorial throw some Hail Mary sliders on John Martinez. That's kind of where I kind of learned to start sliding. As I watched Dylan Richards do, and I go, okay, I guess this is kind of possible in a front-wheel drive. But Beatrice is it's a fun track. And yeah, I got to say, it's definitely number 3. I don't think it's Springfield or it's Humboldt, but it's definitely a strong third. Fourth on my list is Nevada. We only ran Nevada once this year. And it's a fun track. It's small, obviously by my list already. If you look up those 4 tracks, I'm a short track guy. But Nevada is kind of a unique shape. I would say that it's almost D-shaped, but it definitely has 2 straightaways. But when you go into turn 1, it has like what I would call kind of like a false entry, where you can actually drive into the corner or the entry on the throttle, because the real corner doesn't start till kind of the middle of 1 and 2. but yeah, Nevada's fun track. Only raced it once. I didn't even have like a good setup on the car. I had a couple coils cut out of a left rear. I knew nothing about setup because it was only my third night in the car on the year. And so my setup was crap. Somehow pulled off a win. Don't know how I did it. I was just as surprised as everyone else. And then I'll kind of list off my last four. They're not really in any particular order. I feel like they're all kind of equal. They're all bigger tracks. Nothing against bigger tracks. Or, nothing against these tracks in particular. I have fun racing on them all, but they're just, not as fun. My last four in order, with number 5 being RPM, number 6 being 81 Speedway, number 7 being I-35 Speedway in Winston, Missouri, and then number 8 being Salina Speedway. And RPM Speedway is RPM Speedway in Hays, Kansas. Those tracks, they are all extremely fun to race on. I would definitely say RPM probably is 5th. It's right there with 81. Salina Speedway, we raced there this year more than anywhere else. I raced there in a hobby stock back in 2017. I've always said that track is my kryptonite. I ran a lot of laps there. I feel like I've never been able to drive it well. We obviously had one win there this year. A lot of seconds to John Martinez there this year. But the track itself, I don't love the track. The actual physical track itself. It's always been my kryptonite, and I don't know why, but I just struggle to race the track. I will say one thing about 81 and Salina, they are both really fast tracks. And the first time I raced Salina this year, I actually struggled with driving the car into the corner deep enough because of how fast you were going on entry. I kept lifting, and I'd see everybody else driving it deeper into the corner than I was, and I'm like, man, what the hell? And so I kind of fought it, and I kind of picked it up that first night. We would have probably finished second our first night there, but we had a 5th place car that decided that they had other plans for that, and they drove into the last turn wide open, never lifted, and drove across 3 people, and ended up coming out of the deal 3rd. But I had no idea they were there. I panicked. I brake checked extremely hard to try not to hit them, and I ended up 5th that night. But that's that. We'll move on to nicest facilities.